Hi friends, I am Natalia with Mom's Dish. Today we are making vareniki, which are pierogis. We fill them up with the sweet cheese filling, which is just farmer's cheese and some sugar. It is so loved around here. It's basically Tim's favorite recipe and I make it all the time. We have a storage of them in the freezer for those special occasions or just whenever I need a meal on the go. We have it in our freezer and you will love this recipe because the dough, everything just comes together perfectly. Let's make it. I always say that if Tim is ever upset with me, if I make him vareniki, it just basically he forgets about what happened. So this is why we love it so much. I always have a stash in the freezer in case I mess up. Just cook it up and then we're in good terms again. It actually might be a secret to our successful marriage. We're gonna start by combining the dough ingredients together. You wanna start with the wet ingredients. So I have 2 eggs. We're just using large eggs. We're gonna place them in a bowl. And then, that always works. That sink is so convenient there. So 2 eggs. I have 2 tablespoons of sour cream. Just dump that in there. And then 1 cup of whole milk. Pour that in. And we need half a cup of lukewarm water. And I'm just gonna whisk this up together. If you do have a stand mixer, this can make your life easier. But I'm just gonna do it by hand today, just to show you how the dough comes together. It makes things a little bit easier for the camera. For the flour, I need 4 cups of flour, so I already have it pre-measured. And I am using all-purpose flour. I'm just gonna add a little bit at a time, mix it in, and then knead the rest by hand. I have some sugar, and then a pinch of salt. I'm gonna use my dough hook to combine it together, and then slowly add the rest of the flour into the mix. Okay, also one more note, depending on the brand of flour that you use, you may need less or more. I am using 4 cups. Sometimes I go 4.5 cups. The dough will be soft, but this is the type of dough that will not be sticky as long as you flour your working surface. It stretches nicely. I absolutely think it's one of the best pierogi doughs or vareniki doughs out there. It's my favorite. I always use it, used it so many times. But you'll see how the dough will come together, and then if anything, we'll add a little bit more flour. Just want to look at the texture. Okay, one of these dough spatulas is so useful. I am actually gonna scoop this out on the working surface. And now I'm gonna knead the dough just to put it together. It doesn't need a lot of kneading, but I just want everything to be nice and elastic and combine everything together. As you can see, the dough is a little bit sticky, but that's fine. And just a note, I am using Bob's Red Mill flour usually at home. Sometimes I'll use King Arthur, but most of the time I just go for Bob's Red Mill because I love it so much. It works for so many of our recipes. So that's the one that's like a staple in our house. This cutting board dough, stop moving. This is how your dough should look like. You can leave it on your working surface. I need a little bit more space, so I am actually gonna put it in a bowl and leave it covered, but look, it's still soft. If my hands don't have flour, it will stick to my hands, but you want it to be soft like this. We are gonna generously flour the working surface, but I want this to sit for about 10 minutes while I work on the filling. So I'm gonna place this in a bowl, cover it with a towel so it doesn't get dry on top, and then we're gonna make our filling. I am starting with some farmer's cheese here. You can make it yourself. We have a recipe for it on momsdish.com. You can also purchase it. A lot of European markets sell this. It's almost like cottage cheese or ricotta, but like a little bit different than both. So you will find the farmer's cheese in Eastern European markets, Sprouts. If you have Sprouts close by, they usually sell it, or Publix does too. So we have some farmer's cheese, and then I have some sugar. Also, I am gonna add an egg yolk to the mix. It adds a little bit of color. A lot of times I'll do a whole egg, but I don't want the filling to be really runny. But my mom always used to add an egg yolk, and I just love how the filling looks more yellow. So just combine it all together until it's all nice and creamy. Okay, this looks good. Looking good. I have all my things that I need to get things going. I have rolling pin, we need to flour working surface, and also I love using a biscuit cutter. My mom actually used to use a glass cup to cut them out in Ukraine. I mean, biscuit cutter works better. It's probably safer than a glass cup. I'm gonna do a little pinch of dough at a time. And the dough is nice. Look how stretchy it is. It's so soft, it's so stretchy. Like, I love this dough, you guys. If you don't have a good dough recipe for vareniki, this is it. It's just incredible. And I work like in small parts just to make the process much easier. Just rolling this out. This is a good thickness. And now, just gonna dip this in as well. And I'm just gonna cut out a bunch of them at a time. This is what speeds up the process. If you're doing this with a group of people, put one person to do one thing, the other person to shape them, next person to boil them. It's actually a whole lot of fun. Okay, to make one, you just basically stretch it out slightly, place the filling in the center, like this, and then you wanna pull the edges together, just like this, and then you wanna pinch it. I'm gonna flour my fingers and pinch it like this all around to make sure it's all fully sealed. Just go all around and make sure all of that filling is secure in the center. Because this is a great meal prep, like I usually make double the batch and I freeze them, so this is the way I freeze them. I flour the baking sheet, place them in the baking sheet in one row. Keep that in mind. Once they're fully frozen, you can mold them to a Ziploc bag and just keep them in the freezer for a few months and just boil them whenever you're ready. And we're gonna bring this water to a boil on our cooktop. Once your water is boiling, you wanna add vareniki to here. I just kind of add one at a time because you don't want it to get all smooshed together. And then as soon as you add them, you wanna stir things up. Stir things up. Tim always makes fun of me for stir and steer. So basically mix things up. And then we're just gonna mix them or stir them. Okay, once you see them floating like this to the top, we're ready to take them out. And I just add them to a serving dish, just like so. Okay, so we have vareniki here, and then I'm adding butter and just combining it together. Allow it to melt. You can serve this with some sour cream or jam. Sometimes I add jam on top, but personally, I just love them just like this. And this is the way I serve it for Tim. You guys, it's such a great recipe. The dough, I already know because I made it a million times. It's like slightly chewy with a creamy farmer's cheese filling inside. Oh my gosh. So good. Every single time we try this recipe or make it, it just never gets old. It's such a good one. I hope you love it as much as we do. So guys, the guy that absolutely loves this meal is back from the gym. And now he's busy with phone calls, but...
Hello, this is Tim.
Okay, resuming what just ended with the phone call. But, okay, Tim.
So good. This stuff makes me smile. Okay, anyways, go ahead.
I told him this is your very favorite meal from Mom's Dish.
It is not just from Mom's Dish, from anything there ever is. It's just, I don't know. Is
it better than Petsu? Tim has two things, two ways to his heart.
I can't do this. Patsu is one of them, but this is my childhood dish. It is just, there is no way to replace it.
Okay, try it.
Okay, so here it goes.
Well, I mean, he tried it a million times.
Oh, it is good.
But he's literally right out of the gym. So
do you know what I love? Like the last, like 10 years, you've improved how like soft they are. So.
Well, that's the recipe of Mom's Dish.
That's it. The perfect amount of sweetness. Of course, I like it.
You guys, this is the reason our marriage survived. I'm kidding. Okay, well, we'll see you next time.
Definitely a compliment.
Compliment. Bye.